right. Well, NAI, thank you so much for inviting me to this conference. Why silver? Why now? NAI 500 conference in October 2020. And excuse me, I'll do my only Chinese word I know, ni hao. Hopefully I did that okay. Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you. So now, if I can get this to slide. Okay, so this will be the start, and this is a silver discussion. The most important part that I can teach anyone about the precious metals or markets in general is when to get in and when to get out. I think this last leg will set a record as far as price is concerned. If we look at the silver price against the stock market, the Dow Jones, we can see that in 1980, when silver was at $50, the ratio was this number up here. Now we are way down here in 2020, which means that silver is undervalued to stocks. In fact, silver is undervalued to stocks, bonds, real estate, and even gold. Silver right now represents as good an opportunity as it did during the Great Depression of 1930. It's that undervalued. Now, if we look at the real inflation rate, which is calculated in 1980, and we use the same exact method, you will find that today's silver price to equal the 1980 high of 50 would be 600, which means we have increased the money supply over 12 times since the 1980 high. And please forgive me, audience, but I just lied to you a little bit. What I said was true, but what I left out was that we have increased the money supply an additional 30%, or nearly 1/3, in the last 3 months. If you are not prepared for higher prices, you better get prepared. I am often quoted for saying this. It actually was said by Jeff Christian of CPM Group of New York. 90% of the move comes in the last 10% of the time. I did the arithmetic. It's very simple to do. The real numbers, not that we care, is that 87.5% of the move, almost 90%, came in the last 7% of the time. Now, I don't want people to think this is an exact repeat this time. The main takeaway is the biggest move is ahead of us. it's going to be huge in price increase, and it's not going to take very long. So let me say that one more time. What all this boils down to is now, going forward, will be the largest price increase in silver in a relatively short time. I'm not one to say, get rich quick. But I can say there are times in the market where that does happen. We are looking at one of those times right now. To show the last market and compare it to today. In 1979, silver had achieved an all-time high of $6. And it took almost 14 years to achieve that high. It started in 1965 at $1.29. And from 1965 to 1979, over those 14 years, it went up and down and up and down and up and down, but mostly up. The trend was up. $6 was unheard of for a silver price. It hung around $5 forever. But if you were, let's say, not prejudiced, liked to experiment, had no knowledge or had a lot of knowledge, it really wouldn't matter. Let's just say for whatever reason, you thought $6 silver was still worth buying. You would have done yourself a great service if you were able to last 1 year. Because in January of 1979, silver was $6. And in January of 1980, silver was $50. So that was an 800% gain in 1 year. Again, I'm not trying to say get rich quick. What I am saying is that if you don't have silver exposure, you will look back wishing that you did. I'm known to be a big picture thinker, and we are looking at very interesting times financially, on the food system, on governments, on politics, on money, on the way we do business, on social media. Everything is being challenged. The CBDC moves ahead means central bank digital currency. I am convinced, with all of my study, and of course my staff and others I associate with and read and learn and challenge, that the governments of the world are pushing the world population toward an unbacked blockchain digital currency with positive identification of every human, which means some point in the future, everyone will be using their phone or perhaps something in their hand, but the payment method will be every transaction will be traced, tracked, and taxed. Cash will be eliminated. I wrote about this in the Morgan Report in September, and I've been writing about it for months. The bankers want complete control. They want zero backing. They do not want it to be gold backed or silver backed or anything. They want it to be backed by their computer only. They also want it to be unlimited, which is the problem we have now, is unlimited money printing, as I said earlier, increasing the money supply by 30% over the last 3 months means that every unit of currency depreciates. It's worth less, and it's worth less, and eventually it becomes worthless. And as the bankers push us that direction, they will simultaneously be pushing us to adopt the new method, which will be the blockchain. Exactly how, I don't know. I'm not sure the banks know at this point, but it'll be most likely tied to your phone, and you will have a code. And in a lot of places already, you can just use your phone to pay at a Starbucks or a grocery store or whatever. It'll just become the only way that you'll be able to make payment. I'm asking a question here, and I must say that I am involved with this company I'm going to speak about. I have a very small investment with them relative to what I hold outside of this investment, but I feel it's worth mentioning because of what I just outlined. It is a blockchain-based, silver-backed cryptocurrency. My question is the next major market move in the crypto space or in the blockchain space going to be led by asset-backed coins or tokens? In other words, will the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the Litecoins, and all these alternative payment methods that are not backed by anything, will they take a back seat to the few that are backed by gold or silver? I think that could be, I say could be, not would be, could be the case. So this is just an introduction. Again, my position is very light. I suggest you get more information before you make a decision. It's a way to have real money on the blockchain that you can spend, save, trade, or capture. By capture, I mean you could take the electronic digits, tell the system, I want my silver coins mailed to me at this address, and that will take place. We're also issuing an electronic debit card with your account. So if you have silver or gold and you wish to spend it, you could put it on the blockchain at the LOOE program. And there's others. Let me say there are others. And then once it was logged into the system, you could use your debit card to spend it anywhere. Interesting. So it's tying both old world money, gold and silver, to the new world electronic payment system. This is the company statement. I'd say it's partially true. They claim to be the world's first digital silver and gold monetary system. And let me stop there. Most of these other competitors to LOOE are just a fiat exchange system. You put in yuan, US dollars, Canadian dollars, Aussie dollars, it doesn't matter. They convert that to some amount of gold or silver. Then when you spend it, they take that same gold and silver and they convert it back into whatever currency that you're going to spend it in. Like they go from Canadian dollars to pound sterling, and you make your purchase. Gold is all just a placeholder. That is not how this system works. And I do not have the time to explain it, but I will point you in the right direction for more information. In simple terms, you might think of the LODE system as being a gold and silver bank. All the deposits are in metal, not in fiat. Now you can convert fiat to metal and bank it at LODE. Or if you have gold and silver, you can mail it and bank it at LODE. Again, it's yours. Anytime you can take it out of the system if you chose to do so. And there are some details about that you need to be aware of. If you decide to come in, there's certain parameters, which again, I'll leave to your own determination. It's spelled out very clearly. I don't have time to go into it, and I don't have the exact amounts, but so the silver token is based on 1 gram of silver, which, excuse me, sorry. Well, I don't know how to go backwards, Gilbert. Can you help me? Oh, I do. Okay, good. So it's based on 1 gram of silver. And gold is available for 1 milligram. So these are very, very small units, which makes it very easy. Right now, you can see that 1 gram of gold, and I forget when we made this slide, but we'll say it was roughly 10 cents for a milligram of gold. And silver was, a gram was around 70 cents. So this is where you go for more information. I know the URL, this code that you type into your computer browser looks odd, but that's today's world. Almost anything can be used to designate a website. So it's ag.lode.1. AG is the symbol for silver, .lode, LODE, which stands for the mother lode, really the load of real money, and .one is just a designator like net or com or TV. It's .1. So ag.lode.1. You can sign up for their newsletter. That doesn't mean you're signing up for the program. I would encourage everyone to sign up for the newsletter. They also have a Telegram account, which anyone, as far as I understand, anyone can participate with that. There's several videos to explain the system. And we do think it's the future of money for an alternative. And that sounds funny because gold and silver have been money for thousands of years. China was the last nation state to come off the silver standard. And now we're taking that real world, well-valued and understood money and merging it with today's technology to reinstitute, you might say, real money for the people. So I'm at my 20-minute mark. I do have to say there's a disclaimer. Everything I said involves risk. There's no guarantees of the future. There's certain jurisdictions that might have issues with anything that I said. And I'll conclude with, I did my very best. I'm not trying to mislead anyone. And we're all adults. Read read everything and understand everything before you get involved. Not with LODE, with anything, with any investment, any ETF, any coin dealer, any house that you purchase. Understand the contract. Once you do that, then you should be, if you take the time to understand it, you should be able to avoid some mistakes. So, Gilbert, let me turn it back to you, see what the questions are.
Yes. we got a few questions here. The first one coming out from Jeffrey. He said, do you think will silver prices respond to actually any the growth of the electric vehicles and the battery demands? Anything to do with that?
Yeah, slightly, Gilbert. It's hard to know for sure because what I do know, I'll state it for your audience, is that the best batteries are built with silver. The problem is silver is a lot more costly than lithium or cobalt or any of the new modern batteries. And I'm not ruling out graphene either. I'm well aware of that technology. So it will have some impact because of just the wiring or whatever, or the wireless part of it. But the real juice would be in a silver-based battery. And I honestly don't think that will happen. Now, there could be an elite car like a Maserati or Ferrari or something along those lines in the EV market that says, hey, look, you buy this once and your car is going to probably worth 10 times what you paid for it because we use silver batteries. I'm kind of making a joke and kind of not. That could happen.
Yeah, so another question from David C here. He said silver can actually be recycled a lot. So would that reason affecting the growth of the future silver price?
Yes, it could. I mean, if you look at gold and silver together, every ounce of gold for all practical purposes is still there. Whereas a lot of silver has ended up in landfills because not all of it's recycled. But more and more will be recycled. In fact, interestingly, one of the major tech stocks I have in the Morgan report for our subscribers is a e-waste company that takes and recycles silver and gold to a much greater extent than it's been recycled in the past, mostly by PCBs, printed circuit boards. It's a very lucrative company, and it's a penny stock. It's got a lot of upside, but like any of these smaller companies, it's had some issues getting off the ground, but it's a very exciting story.
Another question here from Rico. Can load be used to transfer wealth between countries?
Yes, it's blue skied in every country that, to my knowledge. It's based out of the main canton. They call it, it's not the Silicon Valley, it's the Crypto Valley from Switzerland. Our lawyer is a top-notch guy, been in the space for a long time. And believe it or not, there's more regulations around cryptos than most people think. And we have jumped through every hoop, dotted every I, and crossed every T so far to make sure that we're in full compliance. Whereas some of these ones that are out there and being heavily advertised are not. So you want to be a little careful. But yes, you can transfer between countries.
Sure. So one last question throwing at you here from Lisan, and her question is, why does silver and gold behave so differently when confronted by the same macroeconomic events?
Well, I would say I'm not going to argue with it, but they're correlated at 85%, which is a pretty strong correlation, but it's not 100%. So that's what she's pointing out. I think the best answer is this. At times where there isn't monetary stress, silver acts purely as an industrial commodity. At times when there is monetary stress, silver acts more like a monetary asset, but it still always has the industrial component. So in times of monetary stress where the industrial demand remains constant or maybe is increasing if it's a strong economy, and there's monetary stress for, let's say, inflation, those two combine, so it'll actually outpace gold in those instances. So if gold goes up, 400%, silver's likely to go up, 800 or 500. It's going to outperform. On the downside, when gold is the money of last resort, no matter what, in good times, bad times, or in between times, silver plays a different role. It's like, oh, it's not money. Whoever would think of silver as money, even though it is, the attitude changes or the market changes its attitude and it becomes an industrial commodity and it's really not worth much. I'm glad we have it. I can have a cell phone. Without it, I couldn't have a cell phone. So that's the basic answer.
Sure. Yeah, so thank you, David, for your time here today. We're glad to have you with us again in the new normal, being with us virtually here with us.
Gilbert, it's great to see you virtually. It's great to talk to everyone. And I thank you for your time. And I hope I was of use to everyone.